Hey guys, it's Devin and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a tutorial on this hair look. This is my everyday curls. I don't blow dry my hair. This is just done with a curling iron and I make this last about 3 days. I'm going to show you what products I use, what tools I use, and what I do to get this look and how I keep this look for 3 days. Let's get started. This is what we're working with. This is my natural texture. It's kind of straight slash wavy. I have more waves here underneath. My hair used to be a lot wavier until after I had children, but that's kind of what happens. It changes. So for those of you that don't know, I am a hairdresser, so I do know a couple of tips and tricks about this. This is kind of my everyday hairstyle that I do quite often. And I get lots of people asking me, mostly in my real life, how I do it, but I get people asking me on YouTube as well. So I'm going to show you guys what I do and what products I use. This is super easy and quick. It doesn't take lots of time. You don't have to have my hair texture to get this. The nice thing about having wavy hair is you can kind of blend it into your own texture with the curling iron. But if your hair is curlier, you might have to start with it more blown out. And if your hair is straight, it's fine. You could just use exactly what I'm telling you to use on your own hair as well. Anyway, so what I use is a Hot Tools 1-inch curling iron. I am a big believer in tools. I feel like the tool that you use makes a big difference, and I'm not about spending $200 on a curling iron, and you don't need that on a daily. For someone like me that's using it at work often, you want to spend a little bit more money on your tools. As you can see, I'm using a Hot Tools. I got this at Sally's. This was kind of like a middle of the road price. This was probably about $60, I want to say. But I feel like the cheapy ones that you buy, I'm not going to name brands, but cheapy ones that you buy that are like $15, $20, those are not going to heat up as good as you want them. So just invest a little bit of money if this is something that you're going to be doing on a regular basis. So I put my heat all the way up. But if you're not comfortable with that, definitely put it on low. Mine goes to 430 degrees, so it's really hot, but I'm also very quick. I don't leave it on my hair. I'm not holding it on my hair, so put it a little bit lower if you think you're not going to be super quick. So this is what I use. After I wash my hair out of the shower, I spray Miracle Leave-In It's a 10. I really like this stuff. I've used lots of different products over the years, but I always go back to this one. I like it a lot. And I kind of scrunch my hair a little bit with the John Masters Organics Sea Mist, sea salt spray. So I do that. I just, with my wet hair, kind of scrunch it up, and then I honestly either go to sleep at night, or if I do this in the morning, I just walk around and let it dry. So this is what I end up with. And I put a little bit of Moroccan oil on my ends. So what I do is I put my hair in sections. I normally wouldn't actually hair scrunchie this off, but for the sake of the video and not confusing you, I'm just going to put this on top of my head so you can see what I'm doing. So I have the lower section right here. So when you're doing a beach wave, some people love using the hair wands. I'm not a huge fan of them. That's just preference. Some people love them. I'm not a huge fan. But if you like the wand, you can kind of do a similar thing with the wand. So what I do is I curl the first 3 sections that I'm doing away from my face. And then as I get to the back, I kind of rotate directions whichever way. So I'm just going to take the first piece. I start in the middle, clamp it down. I leave the very end out, and then I take it out. So I'm going to explain again as I do this. I leave the very end kind of out. I clamp it in the middle. You twirl it, click it, go down, click it, go down, leave the end out, hold it, and drop it. Now granted, this is something you kind of have to get used to doing. I see a lot of people just go to the end and then roll it all the way up. That's when you're going to get more of those ringlet curls. And also that's when you're putting the most heat for the longest amount of time on your ends. So it's better to start in the middle and you're not keeping that heat on your ends. You're just holding it for a minute, not literally a minute, and then letting go. So I did all 3 of those back. And now I'm just going to go different directions. I do the same thing. Click, click, click. I grab pretty big sections, especially in the back at the bottom, because honestly, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're not going to see the bottom too much as long as it's curled. So do not break it apart yet. That is for the end. Right now you want it to cool in this pattern that it's in. So in the middle, in the middle, click, click, spin, click, click, spin, and leave those ends out. So something that I see people doing a lot that I didn't think I had to say, because I think this is second nature to me that I don't realize sometimes, is that sometimes when people clamp it, they go this way. And you see when you do that, you're clamping the hair and you're making this weird kind of fish hook. So make sure when you clamp, you're going with it and not the opposite way, because that's when you get that clamp, okay? So make sure you're going in the correct direction. And that just takes time and getting used to your curling iron and how it works. In the middle, twist, click, click, click. And again, just remember in the back, you can go different directions. Now, to be honest, on days that I am rushing, because I have naturally wavy hair, sometimes I'll leave some pieces of my natural texture in because I'm in a rush. So now I'm just feeling my hair around, taking pieces in the back, curling. This is just like, I do this, if you're more comfortable doing this in more sections, then do that. If you feel like you have to do this in 3 sections instead of 2. I'm just kind of showing you guys how I do it. Rotating. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this and do this all over my head, but I'm going to come back to you when I get to the front, because that's a little bit different, and then I'm going to show you how to do that front piece. Okay? See you in a minute. Okay, so I'm back. I did my entire head except for these front sections. Now, depending on where you part your hair, I'm a middle parter, but you want to part your hair in the direction that you want to leave it. So this is how big this section is. This is all curled underneath, so it's kind of just like this thicker. You don't want the section to be too small because we don't want a tiny little thin curl. But, let me make sure this is curled properly behind it. So what you're going to do in the front is a little bit different to make it just look more of a smooth curl. So I take my curling iron, I clamp it up here, and I kind of almost use it to straighten the very top. And then I curl the very ends away from my face, leave the top out. So now I'm going to do that over here. It's a little bit harder if you're not used to it, doing it from the other direction. So the same thing you do over here. I hold the curling iron this way when I do this side. And you curl the very bottom, leave the top out. Okay. So now what you want to do is just make sure your whole head is cool before you mess it up. So just wait a couple minutes for it all to cool down before you break it apart with your hands. Don't wait about 5 minutes. So don't worry, this is not the finished look. We're not going to look like Goldilocks. This is not the finished product. So wait 5 minutes and cool down, and I'll see you in 5. All right, so this is what we got. Now, we're going to use our fingers, put our heads upside down, and just break the curls apart. Alright, so this is what I got. So now what I do is I kind of go back and tweak things. I don't like what's happening over here. Oh, this is supposed to go over here. There's some kind of, that's actually better. So now you just go back and kind of tweak any weirdness that you see that you don't like. But I think that looks pretty good. Sometimes I like to add a couple of curls that go further up top. So what I do is I do this once pretty well, and then I just let my hair stay this way for like 2 or 3 days. But as days go by, it just turns into even like a looser curl as you sleep on it and wear it, and I prefer it actually once it's a little bit looser. Okay, so something that I do, just because my natural texture is wavy, is I'll take my straightener and just straighten these little pieces here on the side, because it tends to get like this weird curl right by my ear. But, so that's the look, you guys. So to keep this for more than one day, the trick that I have is you take your hair scrunchie. I like to use a loose one, either one of those soft fabric hair scrunchies or a scrunchie like this. And then at nighttime, I take my hair and I put it loosely in a pony on top of my hair, loosely in a pony on top of my head, and I sleep that way. And the next morning I take it down and I'll use a little bit of dry shampoo on my roots. I use the Batiste brand, that's the one I like the best, and then I put a little bit of hair oil of some kind on my ends, and then I do that for about 3 days, and it lasts really nice. It just loosens up a little bit, but definitely key is how you sleep at night. So if you guys like tutorials like this, I'm going to leave a link to a playlist of other hair tutorials that I've done as well, so definitely go check that out, and I'll see you guys over there. Bye!